Welcome. I would like to say Sunday, bloody Sunday, but it's just a small pullback. nothing, nothing major going on the market. We had a really nice run up from last stream, so happy about those longs, and I took quite a lot of profits already on them. So that played out. I didn't bother to shorted it yet, to be honest with you, just because I want to see a bit more of a break on the higher time frame. This was just like a small low time frame for our structure break. Just a small one, nothing major. We do see some changes on the market sentiment. So, for example, if we're going to look at the VIX right now, we are coming back from the 30 area. We got a small pit stop at 24-ish. That was the point of interest overall, and now we are breaking quite heavily into the lows. We didn't break anything significant yet. I mean, yeah, we are already below all of this structure, but mine low, it's not really mine low, but it's the low of the lows that you don't want to break it, or up to you. It's 17. That's the line in the sand for me. That's going to change quite a lot just because it's already below the weekly low that we settled. And we are kind of late on that area right now. So I want to see if we're going to close weekly already below that or above it. So yeah, we could potentially do one more, but that's still not going to break anything. So we're not going to break that. And the monthly is around 14. So to change that overall point of view, we just did a small pullback, right? Small or not, it all depends how you interpret it. But now it's something to watch out for because we could potentially turn around and this could spike higher up into the 24 and definitely to fill the gap, retest it, or do an on the side retest. That's all still possible, right? After this whole pullback, because remember one thing, when VIX did minus 40%, most of the market went all the way into the highs on the structure. And right now we just see a low time frame pullback, right? So we could see a really good continuation in any kind of direction. So that means we're gonna get below the 17. That will be awesome. So the market can spike a little bit more higher, or we're gonna turn around over here and we're gonna dump quite heavily, all in the cars right now. Pixie wise, so far, now it's a waiting game for the daily to close below the 98-ish. So it's also going to be depending how the weekly going to open up, just because the DXY is it's not open today, the market of it. And we are technically below. We closed that already on Friday. So yeah, technically we already broke the structure. So that's a really good sign for dollar to be weakened and get as lower as possible, at least at 97. That's the level that we mentioned last week. That was the point of control, everything that's been holding us into the resistance, and now we are breaking it. So yeah, that's good. That's great. Potentially, we want to see it lower. It's all gonna be depending how the dollar is gonna be open up right now from Monday, how weakened or maybe even this still strong. Because remember as well one thing, this shouldn't be like that accurate on structure, just because like either way we had the continuation over here, it nuked through it, and we are just a little bit slightly below that structure over here, right? So it potentially could bounce back and keep it in this whole range for like no matter of time it wants to be. So it's all gonna be depending, and this is as well like heavily on news driven, especially right now, the hot topic on from the America side. So yeah, that's as well something to consider. But overall, on the better side, the crypto overview market, we did get quite to the T to the 724-ish. That's the underside area from the previous high that we settled. That was a perfect test, and we've been kind of like sideways tracking it for now. Yes, we are below the 708, but the major stuff happening below 699. So yes, we do have some room to run yet. We are at the support right now, where we see a small bounce from it, but it's still nothing major till we gonna reverse and get at the highs again. Right. So this is still potentially at the support right now, and uptrending continuation, just because 4 hour still didn't break the 407 or 704. Jesus, my brain is not braining today. Right. So 3 hour, this is still could be in continuation. We could dip a little bit lower into the support. This is still nothing changing on the major stuff till we're not gonna break below the whole previous low, right? That means the 699 at the daily. That's the main one. So overall market is still good. Iffy on the low, just because we lost that low. We technically didn't regain that by the previous high. We are still with the unset retest back at the support. Just that. Okay. Gold had as well quite a run up, a small one, but nothing major, into the resistance of that's the hip from 4 hour structure over here, the small hip that took us a little bit lower, and we are right now technically starting to break the structure on the 4 hour, getting back at 4K and 637-ish area. So overall, yes, this could go a little bit lower into the lowest of the support, but let's see if we're gonna hold that. On the oscillator wise, it looks like we seriously might start to change the direction of the trend. So let's see how it's going to be the continuation into the next week. That's said as well on silver. We are exactly at the same hip, just a little bit, slightly a little bit more higher than gold, just because silver have a little bit more strength into it, and this could potentially go a little bit more higher into the high of this small hip over here on the daily. That's your resistance area right now, what you are aiming. So potentially, if you look at it and comparing to gold, silver is a little bit more lagging behind. Oh, that was this one, right? So gold did reach the hip, and silver, it's still aiming to get into that hip, right, on the daily. So that's that. And the happy side is that the dominance start to turn around. We are not anymore at, I mean, we've been at resistance at the dominance, but now we start to look like we might aim back to the lows of it. So we all know what that means. If the dominance start to get lower, that's what you want, just because you want the Bitcoin and all start to increase. Right? That's the only reason why you want the dominance to go lower and especially break some stuff. We've been talking about this 58-ish. That's like master heavy fucking support that's still holding. Even if we slightly starting to break that into the lows, it's still holding us and pushing us higher, right? We want this to break to get back at 57. That's the aim. So yeah, that's on the metrics market side. Let's see. It's going to be interesting for the next week. Overall, daily wise, we are still uptrending on the daily, right? So right now, it's going to be important how the daily gonna close. So overall, the 7096, okay, that's the low on the daily that you technically want or don't want to break, right? Or any kind of break of high time frame structure. If we're gonna close the daily below that, we start to aim to the for the hip of the 68-ish, 69 area. That's the weekly open, right? I'm kind of aiming for that one, that we gonna go back at the daily open and retest that if we're not gonna start to rebound from it on hold on this level. That's the aim. Just because you're gonna take out the 150 axis, you start to get a little bit into the 20 axis as well of liquidity, and that's potentially could be the bounce for one more. Why? And this is as well the reason why I'm always aiming for that 77-ish area, because we already starting to get into the cash flow positive. That's the first time since January 25th, right? So almost 3 months of trading that we did in all of those outflow of cash flow. That means everyone took profit over here, and now they are starting buying it back, right? Why is that important, or could be important? Because we are doing, and this is a little bit extended positioning what we did over here from those 4 months of sideways, right? So over here in this area from November till January, right, 14, we did exactly the same thing. We've been in this whole profitable area of cash flow inflow. Now we had a small retracement, what we technically are doing over here as well, and we could see that one more gapped into the 77-ish area. That's the resistance of this hip. That's still, by the day of today, from 2nd of February, is holding us down. We just, like literally by the touch of the candle, we went, touch of the wick, we went into the previous wick, but not on the body, right? The resistance is still there, right? Potentially right now, if people are starting to buy it up and smashing the green bottom, we could run it a little bit more higher to wreck all of them. And that could potentially see one more, right? So technically what we're doing right now is from the high that we have over here, let me put this on the side, got one move to the downside, run up, downside, run up, and then one more. Potentially, that could be, and I could see that as well, the run up into the lows of a first low of the bear market, right? 50K or into the 40s, right? That's potentially what I'm looking for. And yeah, they're aiming for. That's good to say as well. Like if we literally gonna break the lows right now on the daily, and we're gonna run it all the way into the lows of 67-ish, right? That one more don't need to happening then, because if we start to break the structure now, and that's gonna be the case of us to go lower, because there is not much to hold us after losing the previous weekly or the weekly that we are right now. Actually, there is not much to hold us on structure, right? I'm gonna go and cover that in a second. But this is technically why I'm looking into that 77-ish gap still. Oh, gap, the resistance, right? We had that touch, we had that hold, and now we are technically on the side retesting what's perfectly happened of 73.7, and right now retracing and aiming to get most of the liquidity below us. That said, looking at the bids, we did dip into the 73.5-ish area over here. That's the underside retest. We took all of the quite high or highest orders, and now we are retracing into this whole pocket. That's a support that literally right now we are holding on, right? Holding on that, getting back at the highs, we could potentially run higher because this is still uptrending. Still, and only when we start to get below 70.5. Then we start to break only the 4-hour structure, but the weekly one is below around 67. I need to check that on the chart, I don't remember. But that was somewhere over here. We still have room to run to test the weekly and have a high time frame bounce from it. So overall, we are not lost yet in this whole situation, right? This is just like a small pullback, and it was quite exhausted on the highs, and that's why we have this whole spike of outflow, right? But this is still good in case of holding it till we're not going to lose it and break it into the lows, right? So potentially we are still okay. But then it all depends how the daily and the weekly going to open. Even opening up weekly below the 70, it's still fine because that's the higher weekly open than the previous one. So looking by that, right, you still have a continuation. Yes, you didn't regain the 72, but that's technically that we don't want, because if we regain that, then we will definitely gonna go higher up. And that means into the freaking 90 or 85-ish area. But I don't really see it still, right? And look at that as well, that on a weekly. If the next weekly are gonna open up and gonna run up higher and then retrace to close it below this, right? All of the stuff from the core line of liquidity will get around 70. And that's the area that I'm thinking we're gonna fail from and have a bigger retracement. Same thing. What happened over here? Exact same thing. We get into that area like barely, and we had a bigger retracement from it. I need to imagine when that happened, this whole candle was filled, right? That here was the top of the candle before it retraced. So it looked like we will go freaking higher up. So people are buying the shit out of it, right? Longing the shit out of it. And then we start to retrace and take all of those stops. That's the whole brainwash method of market makers, right? What they want you to do. Like they want people to smash the green button when the candle is big ass, right? Like into the resistance. But that's the way how they wrecked everyone, especially retail. So yeah, overall, it still doesn't look bad because it isn't. And even the monthly, this is the like like I've been saying, like we had 5 months straight down, but this could be the small relief and not really a relief bounce like high end, but just a relief for like making retail buy it or whatsoever, like jumping into this, catch them on guard or trap them, and then we can do one more. I just that kind of relief. And overall, like we are still like trading below the whole core line. This is the first time since Jesus April year, literally year ago. We've been below the whole core line of liquidity. So yeah, and you see, we could definitely do something like that, like this. This still could happen on a high time frame. By the way, yeah, yeah, just positive inflow. Weekly start to curve a little bit. That's fine. Nothing special about that. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. So we have here already the reversal sign on the cash flow, right? Positive reverse sign on the cash flow. Like this is what I mean by what we can achieve by that as well. Like if over here we had that cash flow reverse as well, we have that one more. You see that one more push into the highs, and then we dumped everything into the bear market. Like this is already into the bear market, but like similar situation, right? We still could run it a little bit more higher to make people short or long the shit out of it and then wreck them. So yeah, kind of looks like we are preparing for some kind of this event. And still high time frame, like to be honest with you, that's the only one that is holding us. 65.8. That's the only level. There is nothing else. Right, that's the only one on the daily. Daily's been as well tested. There is only here daily, but that's below the weekly. That's nothing that I care about it. 4 hour, there is some structure on it, but most important one is the flip of the weekly. So we're gonna get into that second. Then moving on, capital flow. Really nice spread on the daily, but this is as well something that I want to make sure people understand and see, because on the daily wise we are quite low on the Dixie and VIX. Right? Not something that you really like to see, just because if that starts to spike up, then you know what's happening with the rest of the market or most of the market. So yeah, something to consider as well. Like NDX and Nasdaq and SPX are quite high. Right? The normal market of crypto is neutral. Right? We could potentially bounce up from it. Then looking at the weekly time frame, we still are quite low on the total, but a little bit more higher on the whole on the market, right? So Bitcoin is quite high, ETH is quite high into the 30s. We are not that low anymore, right? That bounce, that relief bounce is still working on it. Dixie and VIX are still high on the weekly. So if that's gonna move lower, we potentially could move into the neutral line. That's already quite good. I don't expect us to get into 60 because that's not gonna happening right now. And don't think that's gonna happen at all this year. But at least neutral line, right? Or staying around that. That's already a good sign. And still nice run up. But yeah. All right. Let's have a look on the biddy first. Did we question need to be asked? Yes, we did break the structure on 4 hour. Yes, that's significant break of structure. That's fine. That's fine because that's the first structure that we break on the 4 hour. We are still in this uptrend that I've been saying. And as you see on the weekly, we are quite far away from it. So coming into the lows of retesting the weekly again, because what we did is open up the weekly over here. We went way below that and we spiked through it without technically retesting it, right? So potentially that's still a good sign for potential uptrend. There's nothing wrong about that. Like I've been saying, the daily matters as well. Closing anything above 75, it's still continuation higher, but closing it below, like I said, you're getting into the mid of the daily and the weekly open. So potentially this is really good support already below you, right, to come back for you. So not much lost yet. Yes, 4 hours still lost, but overall, and I think Stur is going to be quite happy about it as well, this is still potential what you could see, right, for it, just into the highs. We don't, I mean, I don't say we need to break the high right now on it, but at least retesting the daily open inside retest, right? Just because this is potentially high, this is the low what you broke, you regain that, and now you're selling low. So yeah, if you want to have a scalp long on it, then this is definitely the area, right? But note as well that could go as well into the weekly, as we're gonna form that freaking Bar Simpson formation, right? It could. Still a lot of liquidity above that. We had a perfect underside retest I had mentioned last week, so that was really like one touch and we rejected from that one as well. That's something about the heavy position of the resistance. Wave master starts to get a little bit more below the neutral line, not something significant yet, but you can see that it starts to curl up for a moment. That still can change in a second, but yeah, weekly open is still the area that I'm aiming for if you want any rebounds from it or potentially a good chunk of positioning you sell it, then this is the area with the low of the 68.3. Anything below that, breaking the weekly and the daily mid structure, you start to break the high time frame, right? It's a start. It's nothing significant yet till we're not gonna get back below 65.9, but it's a start, right? That shows as will show the weakness, okay? And then you should hope for it that we're gonna hold on the lows, but that means we will wick into the lows of the 65.9 for all of that liquidity over here, right? If we're not gonna hold anyone over here or on the weekly. And this is your last one. If that breaks, right into the, and believe me, I'm then really starting thinking we're gonna dip into the 59 or 58-ish, this area over here. Wrecked all of this liquidity. Grab that, and then what you're gonna see is a bounce from into the mid or left highs for a potential like lower positioning sell off. Then you start to do like literally the whole change of character, right? Because right now you still are in an uptrend move. Still, the weekly is not going to be broken. Like if you break this, then the uptrend move potentially start to change, or a small break in that, right? But this is still uptrending. But no, notice as well, like this is as well like not scary, but it could be as well a scammy situation, just because there is not much to hold on the lows of 65-ish. So yes, potentially, if they're gonna be smart about it, they will wick into it and quite quickly reverse that, something as this happening, right? And then run it one more time and then freaking nuke it. That potentially still is in the cards, right? To do that, just because there is quite a lot of liquidity on the low time frame, like this, all of this, right? If you wick into this, hold on 62 or even below that, right? Forward, run it, and then go. Yeah, potential. But those are the only levels that I'm aiming for. The weekly, right now, like first thing first, you need to remember to look at the daily open. If you start to close below the previous third daily open, so that's 71, that's fine. You are still in a continuation. You could dip into the lower, but then you're continuing higher. If you're gonna dip right now, the only thing that you aim for is holding on a weekly. Do the retest of that one, and you still are in a continuation till you're not gonna break below the Q2. Right, the April Q2 is the most important right now. It's been already tested on low time frame and 12 hours, right? And the daily. So be aware of that, right? Those time frames are already tested, even daily twice on the Q2 and April, right? But the weekly and the monthly are still untested. Technically, weekly it is, but we wick into that one, but still, I'm not really considering that as a test just because it's in the same direction. We didn't come back for it and then build it up from, right? But that's could consider as a test. I don't consider it yet. But then, yeah, monthly, of course, it still didn't, but that's obvious, right? But yeah, that's a bit on the bitty on my side. It's not much to add to it because it's not really a lot that's changed. I mean, we've been in that freaking perfect uptrend. Oh, this is well something additional to it. So right now we are at the support as well with the order blocks and the bids, right? So this is already like quite overlapping for a nice, decent bounce trade from it. So if you look for something really nice, and right now this is even one of the perfect methods, like the risk management of that one is like, yeah, 0.5. Fuck yeah. Like, I take that. To be honest with you, I might pull the trigger on that one as well. So yeah, that's a nice one. But then overall, you have one more below you, below the weekly, but that's as well around the April. Then it starts the high time frame stuff over here. That means it's overlapping with the liquidity. That's why I said be aware. If we're gonna go lower, we're gonna wick into that one, and that's gonna be quite significant buyback of it, right? So yeah, that's a little bit on bitty. Let me, you know what? I'm gonna for a change. I'm gonna pull the trigger on that one. 0.5. Yeah, fuck it. I'm happy with it. Not the best one that I have, but market smashing. Yeah, fuck it. Right. YOLO. Sunday trade. Let's see how that's gonna be playing out. For eight, yeah, that's fine. Done. Order placed. But yeah, yes, we did break the structure. That's correct. So I'm gonna be happy if I'm gonna be stopped out about it. So all fine, but I take the 0.5. It's a good risk reward. Unset retest. Yeah, fine. Right. Not the best one, like I said, for me, but it's a fine one. But yeah, that's bit on the bitty. Not much to add. That not much change. It's only like in a really good uptrend. Like people didn't believe me last week, I guess. That when I said we did hold that, regain the whole previous high, we had a retest, and that flip of this momentum, that push of freaking inflow, as you can see over here, it's still holding us. Right, this is the whole resistance flip that we are right now at. Right, so yeah, it's been a really good grind up, right? And technically we did small regain of low time frame, but the overall regain is still the high of 75, and then getting back at 77 for that maybe hopefully will be nice freaking big ass short positioning that I want to have, right? That's all still I'm looking at. Yeah, it's gonna be definitely interesting, the close of today and the open of the weekly. Now moving on, gonna go through some alts. That one. Hype. It's been blasting. Let me pull up the trade count on that one, because I have still a long from 34.0. Yeah, 34.63. Oh fuck yeah, yeah. One more TP, and that's the TP on 43.62. That's left still. Potentially, we could still dip into that one. Either way, we broke the structure on 4 hour. But to be honest with you, like hype can do that like over and over, every single time, here and still blasting through. Here, this as well, right? And still blasting through. Like that's nothing special for hype. Especially, I will be worried if the daily is gonna break. But then look at that daily time frame. The daily is at 36.2. Right, that's even below the weekly, and we had 5 upwards candles, like big ass, into the upside, and we did already regain the highs of the daily. So happy days. Coming back, I'm gonna load up shitloads on it. But yeah, we could even dip a little bit more higher up. Looking at the perspective right now, and we are starting to regain the August again. So yeah, that's quite good. Let's see if we're gonna regain the daily, and then yeah, that's gonna be the potential. There is a quite nice inflow of it as well. So yeah, overall, hype, really freaking good up movement, and I'm super happy with my positioning on it. So I'm being vocal about it. So I hope people took it as well, or if not, then yeah, plenty, like plenty ways to go over it, because could front run that one, but that's a little bit more riskier. But this one you had it definitely over here, you see. So yeah, nice. I'm quite happy about that one. Now injective, still, as well. Yeah, it broke the structure. Yeah, unfortunately, slightly. Fuck, not. Yeah, it did. Fuck it. I'm not gonna care about it. Yeah, it did broke the structure. I'm still in a position from 2.73. It did had a really nice run up. Quite perfect. It regained the 2.96, so that's good. And we didn't reach March. So that's the level I've been mentioning as well. March is my level to flip also into go higher up. And there is plenty much more liquidity above that. So bro, if that starts to break out and we're going to do one more of that one, or potentially even one more of this, I'm taking it. Right, yes, there is much as well liquidity to the downside, quite low, but it's still there, thick and juicy to take. But then yeah, we will need to break quite heavily below the daily as well and the weekly. So for injective, and I guess AVAX is going to be the same. April Q2, failing that, losing the daily at 2.9, you're gonna go back at the weekly and maybe the lowest even. So I will reload on that one again. But then yeah, still technically down trending, but we could see some potential of holds on it. Just because on the weekly we have the positive cash flow reversal on it, and we are still technically trying to be in that uptrend. Daily wise, we didn't regain the structure yet, so we did on the side retest that. So second go for it could potentially send that, but if this continues, right, because we are still quite high overheated and we are already quite low on the price, we could potentially break the lows and like go even dip much more lower. But anyway, getting below the April, that's the key level, right? Yes, we did break the structure. Yes, I know we did it as well on the Bitcoin, but still, I rather pull that trigger just because we are on the support. If not, I'm gonna aim for the weekly or a little bit more below that. If that's gonna be the 4-hour low of the swing again, that's fine. If not, then we definitely gonna go lower, and I'm gonna wait for the positioning myself again. But yeah, so far so good. I took already quite massive profit on that one. Is there anything left on it? Yeah, one more, but that's this one. Right, that's the highest TP level for me, but that's gonna take for quite a while to reach that. Nothing for now. AVAX, same situation. It did break the low. We are getting as well on April and Q2. So the only thing that's holding us, we are even below the weekly. So that's as well like the difference between the two tokens. You're gonna aim right now at the weekly open, previous weekly open, if you start to break the April. But AVAX had, weirdly enough, somehow they have like the massive fair value gaps lately. Right, they are trying, and this says as well like that's the momentum when the volume rise from the company token or organization whatsoever used to hold the token in this position, in its price range, and as well on exchanges, right? So there is like certain amount of volume you need to consider to be there. But yeah, it's still broke the structure, but yeah, potentially we could reverse to do the inside retest or whatsoever, or even do the swing failing again. But then the lows that you aim for, this is the support. So I'm here from, I think, not sure, I don't remember, 8.4. Let me check. Yeah, I think so, 8.4 around-ish. That's on a different exchange, but on a different account. But yeah, that's still good. Now, Solana had a really nice uptrend, and we did technically regain quite a lot of it. But now as well, same as the rest, we did break the lows, unfortunately, and it's starting to get, oh, we did already close below the weekly. So it started to get a little bit more weaker. Now, the only thing is grab the liquidity, come back at, that's the most important hit right now, 79.98, right? Retest that, hold on that, and then get back at the highs, right? If you start to lose, and this is well the positioning where I'm from, 78.8. If you lose that, believe me, you're gonna see Solana somewhere like in 72-ish area, grabbing all of that stuff. If you're not gonna hold anything right now, or even above 79. Yes. So yeah, let's see. It's gonna be quite interesting. Definitely weekly open. Render had a freaking big ass run-ups as well on it, so quite nice. Right, from the lows that we settled over here from, oh, that's from March, beginning of March, and now we had quite a nice run up. We did lose the weekly, but that's not something significant yet, till we're not gonna lose at least 1.83. This is still in a major support area for render, and we didn't even reach it. So in this area, you don't want to lose 1.83. If you do that, you're gonna get back at December or April Q2 retesting that, because that's a quite heavy resist support as well over here. That block over here, it's a massive one. So yeah, 1.73, that's the one. If not, then even then, if render doesn't care, because it can go low as it can, and it's still gonna be an uptrend, because then you're gonna wait for 1.58-ish area. That's support over here. That's massive. Losing that, you're gonna be in a major league of the supports. So there is not much to worry about render. But yeah, it could potentially retrace a bit more, definitely. So yeah, overall, ETH looks a little bit better. It's still holding on the support structure, so that's good. We are still above the weekly, so potentially, yeah, that's fine for it. And yeah, surprise, surprise, ETH performs a little bit better than Bitcoin right now. Just 1 second. Oh, sorry, I needed to sneeze. Oh my god. So yeah, quite nice. I don't know if you guys saw that a couple days ago, but we had a quite nice liquidity grab on Firecoin. Minus 50% run up, and we quite significantly failed that. So right now we are doing the inside retest, and if we fail that and we're gonna start to get into the lows, then believe me, you're gonna see Firecoin in quite cheap price. Or even maybe you're gonna fill that whole freaking wick somehow. But yeah, quite funny. We couldn't sustain the price. I don't think there was a shenanigans on chain or something, but I think they couldn't sustain the price on it so far. How's this bullshit doing? It's still alive. Jesus. Talking about ranges, and people are complaining about Bitcoin range. Look at that bullshit. Like what you did over here, it's already like one big ass fucking liquidity grab, getting into the lows and then grinding the shit out of it. Like literally. This weekly, it's major fucking holding. 0.65. Jesus. That's major league holding on the structure. I would like to know how much money went into that to hold it. Fucking hell. Scary shit. Yeah. And Per had as well quite nice run up. I'm still in it, so I bought a little bit more on the lows. So that's quite nice. That's gonna be my TP, 2.909. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff overall. But yeah, that's the whole deal about it. Let's see on the if there are any home sales. Oh, PPI, yeah, that could be interesting. Goods orders, permits, okay. For PCI, yeah, that's gonna be a massive one. Q and Q, yep. Yeah, it's a lot, but that's gonna be starting from May. Right now, we're gonna have like 2 or 3, I guess, here. Yeah, not much. Ooh, why is this broken? Oh, okay, now I know. So yeah, overall, large caps quite high. Starting to lose space on the inflow. Altcoins could potentially have a nice roundup, so that's already quite positive. We are running away from the large caps, so that's good. We are separating each other. That's good. Bitcoins, nice. Okay, potentially quite a lot of volatility could flick in. Could be interesting. We are low on the A flow. I mean, low as in potentially buy pressure starts to come in. Same thing what we had over here on the low. So yeah, let's see how that's gonna be playing. Good. And not into the aggressive yet, but that's been like quite a long time ago. But it's gonna be funny. I think I'm definitely gonna be stopped out, but I always take my trade like 0.5. I'm not gonna miss that. Like, please, that's gonna be a run up, then you could have really good RR on it. Definitely. So yeah, something to out for. Potentially, we are overdue for a bounce. Low time frame bounce. Yeah, we are overdue. High time frame, we could continue. But that's gonna be definitely interesting, especially when bits, where are they? Yeah, we see some stacking bits below us, so we could wipe them out as well. They're not gonna act as a support, then yeah, that's gonna be the aim. Just because we took out as well quite a lot, and most of them are been already pulled away from us. So yeah, we could potentially see some in bounce potential, or getting into the lows of 69 ish. Yeah, that's gonna be a little bit front running the weekly open over here. Yeah, could see that. This as well, like significant amount still stepping above, right? Because right below us, it's quite thin and almost nothing. Like even in the lows of 80 bits, like nothing, right? There's still most of it around the price and a little bit more higher. That said as well, that's why I'm aiming for 77, right? Because there are still quite a lot of orders placement. But it's still attractive overall. Much more attractive than fucking this area over here. This is quite in. Been a while, right? And there is still potential structure for it, but there is quite thin on the order flow. So yeah, definitely interesting times. And especially weekly open, it's gonna be quite nice to watch for it. Yeah. So we still like from now to in 7 hours, 3%. 3% left from closing the weekly really badly. Nice on the side retest. Okay. Oh, and but I always forgot about the holder board strategy. We are in a short, so potentially it's gonna be a little bit more sideways. Same thing. Like this could play out as well. Like we're gonna do exact the same thing over here, right? Yeah, and then run it up again, bounce, run it up, and then fading view. and then starting to get into the 70, right? So I'm gonna do this, grind it up, right? One more, and then do the freaking big ass. But that's your slow time frame, right? Don't consider this as something we're gonna do over a couple days. Oh yeah, we are breaking stuff. Let's have a look. Thing on the retest, yeah. Didn't one, yeah. But definitely nice to see some price action happening, right? And like, to be honest with you, like, if no one enjoyed this, like, I'm sorry. Like, it was really, really good, and some of them aggressive as well for a Bitcoin. Like, for example, the spike from here, right? That was a really spike of momentum, right? And we still keep going. That's good, because like, if you're gonna have this and then you freaking down from it, then yeah, that was quite shenanigan. You just continuing into the underside retest, into the structure. Good, 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 good. Any questions by now? I got way too quick distracted lately. Everything fine, understandable, guys. Do you want to see something, some charts, some trades or whatsoever? Different tokens, because I always talk about the mine ones, but yeah, for sure people that want to see maybe different ones. Um, ooh, that could be nice. This could be interesting on BNB. Getting back at 500. Yep. Mm, all of the tokens are exactly the same. And guys, believe me, like you need to believe me. You don't want to, but if we say like as well, like we are in the really low volume area, fuck yeah, that we meant that. Like, look at this. This is beginning of 2026, right? That was the high, and now we are at the low in February, beginning of February till now. We did 3 months of sideways, and this is the whole volume. And you can see that as well. Like, for example, go here to your chart. Let me make this a little bit more cleaner. Um, like, yeah, even lower volume that we did last cycle. That's not a big deal, because last cycle the price was quite low, and we are heavier on the price right now. So yeah, the volume is different, obviously. But comparing it, for example, on the daily time frame, like last time, where is the big spike of the volume? That was here on the lows that we settled. After that, it's dead. It's all sideways. Not much of momentum, right? So what are we doing in, for example, 4-hour chart? You can check that on yourself as well, right? Like, what we are doing for like couple, like even let's say from the beginning of the low, right? The highest peak was this, right? I think there was oh, it's time. No, I wanted to have the. I don't remember where to switch this on. I think it was labels, simple name labels, symbol. Ah, fuck it. Anyway, you can make that that you're gonna see the amount of volume as well on some of the indicators. I don't remember which one it was, but yeah, then you zoom out and look at the daily, right? The volume, what we've been doing. Like, the funny thing is, we've been uptrending, but the volume went down, so we are diverging as fuck, right? What's going with it is this gonna continue till you're gonna aim for some big stuff, also in sell-offs, and then we're gonna do the biggest thing. then we're going to have the increase of the volume, shorts, like that, spike, and we're going to do it all over again. This, and maybe even less than that. So yeah. Here as well. Divergent. If you paste that and as well like remember and work on with that and understand how it's been dealing, same thing, you can see that as well on our oscillator. That we've been quite divergent because the price went way higher and even higher up after that, and after here we went higher, but then you start to go. That's already telling you the strength of the divergency without even placing the labels. So yeah. Oh yeah. Questions? Any questions, guys? No? Nothing? Streams are always so quiet and boring. Right? What did I had? This and this. Good, good. Still good. Not much change. Yeah, render start to go really deep. Are there any token that you guys looking? Trading, looking? Ooh, this been a while. Gooey. Oh, fortune. They yeah, that's funny. You are looking at when you look at what you are looking at when you look. Oh, liquidations. Let me this. What I'm looking at liquidations. Most of the times it's 150 axis. What do you see? What do I see? Liquidations, money, reversal signs, right? Pockets of high frequency liquidity, and how stuck they are. So it's a way like it works like a trampoline, right? So imagine the price goes into this, taking all the liquidity with the pocket in between without nothing. What does it say? Are we gonna go higher or are we gonna go the opposite direction, right? Just because there is liquidity, that's one, we're gonna grab that because that's the money that always we want to grab, and there is nothing else, we're gonna reverse from it. Or grind into that for stacking more liquidity, right? Because how do you stack liquidity? Catch traders off guard and make them trap on the trades, right? In the opposite direction. You stop loss, their stop loss is the liquidity, right? So yeah. But then I'm looking for the high time frame. Where's the high time frame? Those are the 150 X's. Those are the closest ones and the highest amounts of money, right? Ones or two ones that are not that much effective, but a stack of them like this, believe me, if you reach that, that's going to be a proper bounce from it. Same thing, it's happening with this, and especially with this, right? This is just, for me, if I look at this, more like a directional approach, like where could we go more higher or could we reverse into the lows or whatsoever, right? That's one. But like going into the bands, so we're going to do the average stuff right now. Now that starts to look a little bit more different and appealing for me to trade from. Why? Because you just follow the trend. Where is the trend? Where is the money? That means this is the uptrend and we are following the 150 axis, right? Where are we right now? We are way below that. We are into the 21s. Potential. That could be a reversal into the highs of underside red test. Why? Because there is 150 axis above us to take out, right? To continue this trend. And then we start to turn around if we fail at this resistance. If you're going to go higher up into the 20, you start to continue in your trend. Because this is your core line. You follow the whole core of the liquidity trend, right? That's one. Now on the high time frame, to get a little bit more juicier because you are aiming for those pockets, get into it. We've been already into the 20. We are pulling back into the core line of 150 axis. That means getting back at 68 daily mid. That's the weekly open. That's going to be definitely a bounce into the highs again, right, for the continuation, or maybe then the trend change, right? But there's always a pattern in it. Why? Because you always aim for 150 exits because those are the most liquid money, and then you always go into the 20 after that. That's the midterm leverage. Most likely you're not gonna ever, like, not often gonna reach into the 10 or 1 or 3 axis, but those are the lowest as you get. If you get there, it's a no-brainer a buy, because last time we've been there, we had the run up. Last time we've been there, we had a failure, right? Here as well, here as well. It's a pattern of the money flow. That's what I'm always looking at. The price always goes where is the money, and right now we are facing into the lows of 150x on a daily. So yeah, potentially we could go there. Potentially we could hold on this hip, and it all plays out quite nicely with the structure. Because getting into that, yes, you're gonna break this, but then getting into it, holding on that, you're still in uptrending. A lot to consider about it. Yeah, low time frame, 4 hour, same thing, right? We are below now. Yes, we could dip a little bit more lower, holding on the structure, perfect, and then reverse. Yeah, there is the money. We took that already, so let's go another way. But the lines, I like them just because they show you the biggest pockets and as well the dead zones. So those are the pockets that are not filled in between. Those are the 90% reversal sign when we're gonna get there. Yeah, or grind into this as price action, so it picks up and fill this more. Yeah, there is more here. Why? Because there is structure what we've been holding as support. So as long as we are in this area, as much we're gonna build up on liquidity. That means all of this. Directly above this, yes, it's empty because those lines are filled by the day. Every single day it gets updated on those fills. So yeah, this is now empty, but it's no brainer because if you understand liquidity, why from the high to the lows, it's always or 2.4 or technically, sorry, from the highs and the lows. So from the lows, this is 1.3 and 1.7 ish area of percent. That's always 150 x's. So same thing, right? Previous candle open 1.4 and 1.7 ish. Where does it get you? On the side retest. There is always both ways liquidity. No matter if the indicator doesn't show you, because indicators are lacking always. So those levels, right, those lines are filled when the daily opens. If you're gonna somehow be around that time when the daily opens, and that's in 6.5 hours, right, then you're gonna see a line with daily open and a weekly open, and you're gonna see those lines on the both sides coming in. You're gonna fill in. But yeah, there are here 150 x's. Yes, you can. And how do you can see that? You can go to the exchange and see the order blocks. And then calculate 0.7 and 0.4%. Because right now, if you open a position with 150 x's, then there are your stop losses. They're always there, no matter if there is empty some place, just because the indicator is lacking. And this is a Pine Script indicator. It's nothing like we can have on a lifetime data from it, right? because TradingView doesn't allow that. But yeah, and if they are empty, like in this spot, that means it's dead zone. There is nothing there. Same here. We all been pulled. So yeah, that's how it works. That's how it plays out. It's a simple mathematic. We just make the lines to visualize it, but it's just simple mathematic, because go on the exchange and open a 20x position where it's going to be your liquidation sign. Yeah. From here to going to be around ish 5%. It's just that. 10, it's going to be somewhere over here. 2 and 3, it's going to be somewhere. 1, it's not existing. It's just that. And that's both ways. So you can easily calculate why all of this shouldn't happen, right? Like, it's not shouldn't happen, but like, why did we, for example, grind this out? What's happened over here? We've been filling liquidity to both ways, and this has been up grinding, right? And you have this explosive move. So all of this been wiped out, and you have like a pullback, do it again, sideways pullback, do it again, pullback, you do it again, pullback again, and you start failing it, because the pressure starts to cook to the downside, because now we have stuck much more here than above it. A simple and easy and especially quite effective way how market makers trading. Why? So the thing is, like, you need to ask yourself, is like, why is this everything happening? Because market makers need to follow the price. Also, in where is the money? And where is the money? Like, if people are not gonna make the orders set somewhere over here, they're gonna force them to make that. How do they force them? By going sideways. Why we have ranges? Ranges are the most important thing in the whole freaking market, because they are technically making easily to see which way will be the biggest focus for the market maker. Like, but what's more appealing, this or this? So far, we took out all of this. There is much left to the upside. Yes, we could potentially grind a little bit more into that to fill this much more heavier. And then why do you think the shorts are always that aggressive to the downside? Because when you start to build the pressure into the highs, and everyone is longing the shit out of it, right, into this direction, the only thing what you need to do is cook the pressure much more, grab them, and then wipe them out in one big ass range, and then candle to the downside. That's why. To the upside is a little bit more harder, or they need to do a little bit more work, like you see as well over here. They tend to go a little bit more long into the range, and then stepwise going up and down, right? When shorts, when they're playing out, they're playing quite aggressive to the downside, right? Here, 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 a bit more sideways, but still. So yeah, that's that. That's why it's liquidity the most important. On top of that, if you fancy, you can see as well this, right? Like, compare where are the levels over here, the highest liquidity. What did we do? We took them out, right? The orders been placed and already like took out or stopped out or whatsoever, right? But yeah, still it's been built up for quite a while. So it could form as a support if we're not going to dip lower into the highest orders, right, below us. Yeah, overlap those two things with the liquidity and order blocks, you're gonna see quite a nice pattern, and as well a way of trading. Now you can use as well our indicators for the order blocks. On top of that, it's gonna print as well quite a nice block of order where we potentially could have a pit stop. Same thing, below, and a quite nice overlap with liquidity, right? Now you have a quite nice pattern. Now here you have 3 of them, 4 even overlapping. Now that's a super high one. There are plenty ways to play this out. All about your own strategy and what you like or what you want to see and what you want to find from the charts. Cool, glad I asked. Okay, nice. Glad that it helped. But yeah, I think that's all from my side. It's been I always say it's going to be a quick one, but then I end up with over 1 hour. Thank you very much, and I will see you Wednesday. And I'm not sure if the Sunday stream's gonna carry on still, just because we're gonna do the webinar, and I think I will need to offer my stream for that. So if you're not gonna see me on my own stream, then I'm gonna be on the webinar for the botmaster. So please come along, sign up, and yeah, happy to have you there to answer some questions and talk about botting and automation. Yeah, have a good one. Thank you very much, and see you Wednesday. Bye bye.